Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Believe in San Diego Baseball, the podcast. My name is Alex Miniak, the voice of Petco Park, alongside my partner. He is the three-time All-Star Heath Bell. Heath, I see all those cards behind you. You got packs. You're ready to rip. I've got mine here. We will get to that later on in the show. Our Padres Junk Wax Gem Series. This is going to be a lot of fun. You know, I like ripping through packs I used to collect and seeing some of those guys. They are worth nothing, but they are worth the memories and all the stories that have been told between now and then.
Good memories, and then I got to play against them, some meet them, talk to them, or they were my coach. So,
and I've worked with some in a broadcast capacity. So
I guess memories, but I think they're worth like $1 or $2 if somebody will pay for it. But I think it's more memories than anything. It just brings back really smiles and good times.
Good times indeed. We're also going to go over what's called the Contemporary Baseball Era Player Ballot. The Baseball Hall of Fame announcing this just a couple days ago. There's 8 players on this list, and we'll go through and we'll go through the merits of each and see who deserves to get in, at least here on this show. But it's also free agent season. We talked last episode about Padres players becoming free agents. We talked about Michael King and Luis Ariz. We talked about Dylan Cease becoming a free agent. Again, all of these were expected. We expected Robert Suarez to opt out as well and become a free agent. Free agency is sort of a new frontier if you're a player, especially if you came up through a system, through a minor league system. You went through the arbitration rounds. Now you have a chance to become a free agent, step out there and pick your own deal and pick your own place you want to play and create your future, both as a player and financially as well. I've never been through this process. You know, normal guys like me, normal Joes, we interview or audition at a place, and they say yay or nay, and that's it. You actually kind of get to shop yourself and find out what the market says you're worth. Heath, I would love to know, you went through that process after leaving the Padres in 2011. What was that process like? Was it exciting? Did you get what you figured you'd get? Were you surprised? Run me through it top to bottom. What was that like?
Okay, first of all, there's a little story behind it. So here's the thing. I wanted to stay a San Diego Padre, even in spring training before the year started. And I said I'd take a hometown discount. I just wanted a 3-year deal. I thought I was worth the 3 years. And during the season, you know, I thought I was going to be traded again. Didn't. Made the All-Star team. And then, you know, Mike Adams got traded. He ended up going to the World Series. But I'm telling you, that year at the All-Star game, everybody's like, man, if we get you, we're going to go to the series, blah, blah, blah. So I was a little bummed I didn't get traded. And then I was like, well, maybe, you know, I can stay here. And then the Padres offered me 2 years for the total amount of what I was making that year right there. So I was making 7 that year, and they offered me 2 years at 3.5 each year. And I'm like, huh?
That math doesn't work. No.
And so I said no. And
just to preface this too, this was a previous ownership group.
This was Morad.
Yeah.
So then free agent was going on. You know, I was probably too eager, like calling every day to my agent, hey, what'd you heard? What'd you heard? And he's like, dude, nothing's going to happen until like December, you know, the winter meetings.
Sure.
I just went, okay. And everybody's asking me. So we just picked the family on vacation, and everybody's asking me. I'm like, look, I don't even have my phone. You know, we went someplace for a week that had no service, and that was kind of planned. Like, anyway, came back, and then I had a couple offers. Like the Red Sox offered me 2 years. The Angels offered me 2 years. With those guys, I said, hey, can I have an option for a third? You know? And then the Marlins and the Blue Jays actually offered me 3 years, and it was basically roughly the same contract, 3 years at, you know, 27. And the Marlins said they wanted to keep it hush-hush, but we're going to be signing Mark Burley, Jose Reyes. And so I called Jose because I knew him from back in the day of the Mets, and he's like, yeah, the Marlins want to make a big splash. They're moving into the brand new stadium that year. Mm-hmm. They wanted to show everybody during the winter meetings, they just signed these 3 guys. You know, so don't say anything to anybody. And then
And this was also Ozzie Guillen coming in, new
Ozzie Guillen coming in,
uniforms.
World Series manager, and they just signed Carlos Zambrano. So they signed some guys that was like, okay, they got some people there, and a brand new stadium. And I used to live in Florida when my Mets days, so it was like, yeah, we could, we kind of know people in Florida, and so I ended up signing there, and so those are the offers. I had Boston. Phillies were really interested in me, but unfortunately, they went with the other closer from Boston, Papelbon. And the unfortunate part was, and I would have loved to go. I would have gone to Philly if there was an opportunity. And Pap and I had the same agent, so I don't think we played against each other. So, but
I
I
got to
think,
imagine that happens more times than not. It's not
yeah,
like
and I didn't know that until the time, and then I would have loved to gone to Philly. Philly would have been my number one to go to besides San Diego or even Anaheim. That and Boston was up there too because Adrian was there, and he was like, "Hey, come here," and Adrian Gonzalez, and I said, "Get him to do it could be a player option or an owner option, like management option. It's them to pick up the third, but just an opportunity." And he told their GM, and he's just like, "No, we want 2 years." So I would have gone to Boston, I would have gone to Philly, but out of all the 2-year deals, I probably would have gone to Boston or Anaheim.
I could have been talking to you way before now because I worked
Yeah.
in Boston in 2012. So
So
that would have
that's the
been
thing. It's just it's one of those things that you kind of have in your head what you want, and you kind of hold out for what you want. And I had a bunch of offers within like a week or two. Kind of had to make a decision quick because the Marlins wanted to do this big hoopla right at the winter meetings. Jose Reyes, me, and Mark Burley.
mm,
The ironic part is I told people, I said, if I sign a 3-year deal, I'll probably stay there for 3 years, because I want to go someplace where I'm going to stay and build the organization. Because a lot of people in those days get 2-year deals, they usually get traded after the first year. Well, I got traded every year in my 3-year deal. So it was kind of jinxed myself, I guess you'd say. But, I had a good time and a good career. And, it is what it is. You look back, and would I have changed things? Nah, maybe, yes. If I would have known what the Marlins did, sign all these people and then trade them after the first year, then I probably wouldn't have gone there. But he signed a bunch of people and then traded all of them so he didn't have to pay the money because he backloaded all our contracts and got this stadium. And if you really know the Marlins in the situation, that owner was not a good owner. And it was not a good situation for any of us, really. And we all thought we were going to be there. We all knew it takes about a year or two for everybody to gel, to get together and kind of understand everybody. And we were 4 games back, and it was like the 1st of July, and the trade deadline is the end of July, and they started trading everybody. So it was not everybody that season, but that was the start of the trades. And it was like first Hanley Ramirez and then somebody else. And it was like, what? And then the offseason, just basically the whole team.
I got to imagine there's a mix, right? You hit free agency, there's this air of excitement, right? That you're going onto a new frontier somewhere. Then the offers come in fast and furious. There's sort of a stress and a nervousness. Am I going to get what I'm looking for? Is it going to be the right situation? I have to make this quick. And then, like you said, to worry about the trade thing on top of that. If I make this decision and I get comfortable somewhere, chances are I could be gone midway through the season. I could see, and being away from your family, of course, and it was a blessing for them to stay in San Diego, it sounds like.
The worst part was the last 3 years in San Diego, every year in spring training at the trade deadline, my name got popped. It was Heath Bell's going to get traded. So I never had a bobblehead in San Diego because, they thought I was going to get traded during the season. It was always
Yeah.
talks that I was going to get traded. So when we were thinking about that, we were going to move. And then my wife just said, you know what? The last 3 years, we worried about trades. We'll stay here and we'll come out during the summer. And I was like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah, that
Because the
makes a
kids
lot
are
more
getting older
sense.
and I want to take them out of school and be away from their friends and all that stuff. But yeah, that was kind of the situation. So it was kind of like I want a 3-year deal because then I could be in the game for 10 years, 11 years, and also I could set my kids up if they want to go to college or whatnot. And I grew up with nothing, so at least my kids will have a little bit better chance than I did. And then it just kind of blew up all in the face a little bit, but it's all good now. I mean, looking back, if I could do things over, I probably would have maybe signed the 2 years.
No, I mean, it sounds like you did your homework. You called the guys that you knew and trusted, and it just didn't.
Well, that, and I'm a big believer in, if you just do what's right for you. Money's great, but money doesn't solve problems. Actually, money gives you more problems. And I know a lot of people today would say, "Well, geez, I'd rather have more problems than I'd have a bunch of money." And no, because you know what, family break apart. You stop talking to siblings. Your kids want money, and they're not learned to grow up and struggle and work really hard for their fortune. It's like, I just want it. And then people want to become your friends because who you are, how much money you have, and people want to invest in everything because they just see you as dollar signs. They don't see you as a person anymore. So, but that's the bad parts of having money.
Well, one of
Anyway,
these days, because you've had such a storied career, we're going to get you on the contemporary baseball era player ballot. Because
I
that,
was on the Hall of Fame ballot. I just didn't get enough. I didn't get more than 7
well,
votes to be on the next year.
I know. Well, we've got to figure out a way to get you on this other ballot. See, it's beyond the
Oh, I
writers'
just
vote.
no, just give me on the ballot to get a bobblehead in San Diego. That's
The
all I care.
bobblehead ballot.
Give me a bobblehead in San Diego, a giveaway, not buy at the store, a giveaway day. I'll show up, throw the first pitch, sign whatever, talk to whoever, blah blah
I want to
blah,
see it. I want to see it in a bananas uniform, by the way.
or in a
But
banana uniform.
the Hall of Fame announced the contemporary baseball era player ballot. It's players from 1980 to present day. They'll be voted on by the contemporary baseball era committee and announced on December 7th during the winter meetings. Now, the 8 players on this ballot were selected by the writers appointed historical overview committee. The writers always have to say in this. It's not been announced, by the way, who's on this contemporary baseball era committee yet, but I can tell you who is on the ballot. And I'd love to go through these kind of one by one here and see who you believe should be in the Hall, because this is always such a great debate, and we're going to get to some controversial figures. Well, speaking of which, let's start with 2. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. They're on the list. Carlos Delgado, Jeff Kent, Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy, former Padre Gary Sheffield, and former Padre Fernando Valenzuela also on this list. Now, I think there's some qualified names on here, regardless of controversy. I'd love for each of us to pick 2, and out of this 8, so we could get half of this list in. So, who would your 2 be on this list, and why?
Okay, first of all, I'm picking all of them. I have reasons for every single one of them, but this is the
Well, then
reason.
shoot. Then let's hear them. Let's hear it.
No,
Let's hear them.
okay, no, I'll tell you if you want, but here, I'll pick
Yeah.
my 2, and these are the reason I'm going to pick my 2:
Okay.
Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds, because I want to see a fight at the podium. That's exactly
Are you
why.
saying there's something that dates back to the clubhouse here? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's why I would pick, because honestly, Fernando's awesome.
I would put him in just based on his cultural contributions alone. I mean, he
Well, yeah.
changed the game of baseball culturally.
Oh, yes. There's so many different reasons for him. I'm just speaking like 1 or 2. Gary Sheffield had the most unique. Every kid wanted to hit like Gary Sheffield, and he had power, and everybody
Did.
loved him. He bounced around a little bit, but he crushed the ball everywhere. Dale Murphy was Mr. Brave, and I mean, they just didn't win a World Series, And then same thing with Don Mattingly. He was the best first baseman. Everybody knew Don Mattingly. It was just when the Yankees were horrible, and
Absolutely.
Jeff Kent was just. I think Jeff Kent made second base popular and people exciting to play second base. He was just a second baseman that crushed the ball, and he fought Barry Bonds. Carlos Delgado, great teammate of mine, and just man, him in Toronto and playing first was just, I mean, he was just one of those guys you feared, just like Frank Thomas.
He mashed 473 career home runs.
Yeah. And then Roger Clemens, I mean, how many Cy Youngs? Too many to count on. Guy's one of the best pitchers in the game, just absolutely stud. And then Barry Bonds, home run king. And before he went to San Francisco, he was a Hall of Fame guy. He's just one of those guys with a bad attitude, but man, he could play. And I think that's what's keeping him out of the Hall, is just his, people didn't like him. But you got to respect his game. He was the best hitter I've ever faced. And there's only two guys that really, I could say, man, they could do anything they wanted, and was Barry Bonds and Manny Ramirez with the bat. If they wanted to hit a home run, they hit a home run. They didn't swing anything that was bad. You could get them, but you had to beat them. They were never going to beat themselves, and just the best hitter all. But if I'm picking two, it's Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent, because I want to see you.
Well, I think either way, that's a good pick. I mean, I think Bonds and Clemens should be in anyway. I think the Hall should just tell the story of the time and what happened. Yeah. And I mean, every era has some sort of flaw in it. And I don't like revisionist history and going back and judging on something that may or may not have been.
We talk about dead
ball.
This guy did so much of the dead ball area.
Yeah.
This is the steroid area.
But if I had to pick two guys on this list that were not Bonds and Clemens, I would go with Don Mattingly for the reasons you said. Lifetime .307 batting average, 6 All-Star games, 9 Golden Gloves, 3 Silver Sluggers, and an AL MVP. Not too bad.
Nobody likes him because he didn't win a World Series.
Yeah, but again, that wasn't, you got to blame the boss for that. You can't blame Don. And then Dale Murphy, again, because he was on teams that weren't the teams that we knew about from the 90s. I always love this because growing up in Florida, I grew up during the time of the Braves' rise in the 90s, and everybody came out of the woodwork, was suddenly a Braves fan. And I would ask them all, do you know who Dale Murphy is? You know how many people said? Yeah, exactly. None. Back-to-back NL MVP, 7-time All-Star, again on a team that didn't win anything. So, I think those two guys, I mean, again, every kid wanted to be Sheffield, 9-time All-Star, and the way Fernando changed the game beyond the game is huge. If they could tell that story in the Hall, that would be worth it alone, because he fundamentally changed the audience for baseball. He got an entire country to start watching baseball.
Oh, yeah. Every Mexican kid wanted to be him. I mean, I wanted to be him.
Speaking of old-time players and players from our era, we're going to dig into our junk wax gems coming up next on Believe in San Diego Baseball. Heath has got a pack there. I'm ready to rip a few myself. You know what? If you want to follow us online, please do so, because we post these cards online amongst many other stories and bonus content at BelieveInSD.com. It's BLEAVINSD.com. And tell your friends to follow us so we can get more followers on this show that we do. It's Believe in San Diego Baseball, and you can find us anywhere quality podcasts are found, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, just to name a few. And you know what? We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more Believe in San Diego Baseball. Welcome back to Believe in San Diego Baseball, the podcast. My name is Alex Miniak, alongside the card-loving 3-time All-Star. His name is Heath Bell. He started collecting when he was a kid. He collected when he was a player. He collects now, and now we're ripping through vintage packs together. That is a sweet trick, by the way. I don't even know how you did that. I'm just watching you on the screen move these packs of Fleer 91 baseball cards around. Before we rip into that pack, I do want to go into my junk wax gem of the week. I keep them here in this little Western metal building container here. First it had pudding, now it has cards in it. Both are winners in my baseball cards and pudding. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Well, when I open this up, I'm not going to go through all 30. I'm going to try and find some Padres or some future Hall of Famers.
My pick for this week is a 1990 Score Padre Bruce Hurst card. This one not too bad again with the corners. Everything seems to be in good shape. Bruce pitched for the Padres from 1989 through the mid part of the 93 season before he was traded. He actually made his time known more with the Red Sox. He's in the Red Sox Hall of Fame, and he had a heck of a World Series in 1986. He got 2 wins by only giving up 2 runs in that series. In Game 1, he outpitched Ron Darling for the win, and in Game 5, he threw a complete game victory. So Bruce Hurst, he was from Utah, and I think he actually chose the Padres during free agency to be a little closer to home. But Bruce Hurst is my guy here. I'm going to look up, while you rip that pack, I'm going to look up the value here on this Bruce Hurst card, and we'll
I remember
we'll go through.
Score. I liked Score back in the day.
Scorecards are pretty cool. I never collected Score. I was more of a Topps and an Upper Deck guy at the time. Upper Deck, a great San Diego company now, but that's when they did baseball cards. But yeah, I these are good looking cards.
These were the yellow cards. Dennis Eckersley, right there.
Oh, I remember those. Those weren't the prettiest in my opinion.
No, they weren't. Let's see here. Dave Stewart. He's actually an agent now. We got our stickers, and we got the Blue Jays right off the bat.
Hey, all right. You know what I used to do with those stickers? I used to put them on my closet doors, so I had a bunch of them going all the way down.
I don't like stickers.
You don't like stickers?
I have a weird thing. I don't like tape.
You don't like tape, okay?
I just don't like.
I learned something new about you. Last episode, I learned about the gingerbread houses. This one, I learned you don't like tape. Okay.
I just don't like stickers. I don't do.
Okay.
Sorry. Dave Stewart, great guy, agent now. And then I said Dennis Eckersley, right there. And then Roger Clemens, All-Star card when he was in Boston. Barry Larkin, Hall of Famer, great guy. Talked to him numerous times. Gary Sheffield, back in the Brewers days. And then Brian Harvey. Do you remember Brian Harvey?
Well, I see him there in an Angels uniform. See, it was hard for me growing up in Florida to watch any West Coast baseball, so I can't say that I did.
Well, here's the thing. The reason I got Brian Harvey out is because when I was 17 years old, that was probably 94, he knew our pitching coach, Don Ossie. And he came over and showed me how to throw a fork ball or a split finger, and I ended up throwing that for the next couple of years. But yeah, I just had jeans and cowboy boots on, and Don was like, "Yeah, this is one of our good pitchers. He doesn't throw hard." And he's like, "Well, kid, learn to throw a fork ball like I do." And it was funny because when I got in the minor leagues, I would throw it, and they're like, "You're gonna blow out your arm. Don't throw a split or a fork." And now everybody throws them.
You're going to blow out your arm, kid.
Yeah, and everybody throws them. But yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I just looked up the Bruce Hurst 1990 score. That's coming in at a cool $110. Well, you were saying about the 91 Fleers aren't the prettiest. I actually have 92 Fleer Ultra sitting here. And this one is a Padre card. This is Thomas Howard. And this is a pretty card. This is actually great photography. I love the gloss. This is when we start getting into like the higher quality card era. Full color front and back.
91, they probably are always like, dude, nobody likes your cards. So they went, we got to go with the shiny.
I have a 91 score here, and this card looks like crap too. So this is a
maybe the
Greg
technology
Harris.
Wasn't good in 91.
Well, the pictures definitely got better. I think between this week and last week, we've earned ourselves a cool $2 here going through our cards, and we'll have to do it again next week to see what else we can.
I have to sell 2 cards to go get a gallon of gas.
More than that, if they're only worth $1. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's keep scouring, Heath, and we'll get to it again next week. We'll do more of this and more Padre talk when we come back next week. Make sure you find us again. Believe in San Diego baseball for the 3-time All-Star. My name is Alex Miniak, and we'll catch you next time here on Believe in San Diego baseball. Keep digging.
See you guys.